Leonard Szymczak has been both the psychotherapist and educator for the past 35 years in both Australia and America. He has conducted countless seminars and workshops and is the author of the novel Cuckoo Forevermore. Sounds like one I would like. A satire on psychotherapy. His forthcoming book is The Roadmap Home, Your GPS to Inner Peace, where he talks about the guiding power of spirit. Please welcome Leonard Szymczak.
Well, I'm going to ask you just to put on your seatbelts, turn on your ignition, get ready to access your GPS, the guiding power of spirit, because we're going to go on an amazing ride today into the world of body, mind, and spirit. So, as Dave mentioned today earlier, I will be covering an overview of spirit. Sylvia will be talking about the mind, the power of positive thinking. Gwen will be talking about the body and meditation and yoga. And Nancy will do our cleanup hitter. And we'll talk about vision and calls to action. I'd like to begin today with a Hindu legend. And according to the Hindu legend, the human beings were abusing their divine powers. So the Hindu gods decided that they wanted to do something about this. And so what they did, they figured we're going to have to hide the divine powers. And so they initially thought, well, let's hide it deep within the earth. And they thought maybe humans will be able to dig down into earth and discover the divine powers. And they said, well, let's hide the divine powers high on top of a mountain. But then they thought maybe the humans can scale the peak and find divinity there. Then they finally came onto the solution. They says, we will hide divine powers, divine spirit deep within mankind. Because that's the last place they'll think of looking for. Well, we're looking for it. We're in an age where we are indeed looking for spirit. And I remember when I started doing psychotherapy some 35 years ago, to talk about spirituality with clients was just unheard of. Now, of course, when you look at the recovery movement and self-help groups, the higher power is an integral part of the recovery movement. And we have been turning ourselves more and more inward to understand this whole notion of spirit. Gene Houston, the visionary, says that we are evolving, and we're evolving from Homo sapiens, wise man, to Homo spiritualis. And that is the realization that we are all spiritual beings just having a human experience. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today, doing an overview of what spirit means, and I call spirit home, the guiding power of spirit. Many of us have different names for spirit. We may call it the source, we may call it divinity, we may call it the force, or God. Whatever name we call spirit, it is really at our very center. And I have this diagram here, and I'm going to be talking about spirit as if it's the GPS. So we have this internal GPS. So I want you to imagine, so our internal GPS is a wireless system. We are wireless. So in our center is spirit, and we can get hooked into our GPS. Imagine just like in a car, we've got our wireless system directing us. But if we forget to access our GPS, we forget to go to home, which is a place where our birthright, where we belong, that it's going to be very difficult for us to know where to go and how to direct our lives. So I want us to take a look at this diagram. I call this the flower of our being, or the flower of life. Because each of these aspects of our lives are vehicles. And they're vehicles that will guide us back home. And once we go home and connect with spirit, they also give us an opportunity to move back into the world and express ourselves.